Boarding a flight with 4-year-old twins and flying across the world, what could possibly go wrong? This is our first international trip as a family, and it was wild, wonderful, and full of surprises. We thought it'd be fun to share it with you as more of a personal way to experience how we travel. And be sure to stay to the end where Amy will give you 3 tips on how to make the most of your own international trip with kids. Alright, let's head to Paris. We started by heading to LAX, the Los Angeles airport, which is an airport I try to avoid any opportunity I can. However, it's hard to beat flying directly from LA to Paris without any layovers, even if that flight's 10.5 hours.
All right, guys, where are we off to?
Paris and London.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed it's a good trip.
We got dropped off at the Tom Bradley International Terminal and we went to check our bags in. At this stage, we unfortunately still have to travel with strollers, but it does make for a fun game to encourage the kids to push them.
Crazy drivers. Taking our mandatory break before we've even got through security to look at airplanes.
It's been 5 minutes already.
This is the emptiest I've ever seen LAX. It's a Tuesday at about 2 p.m., but apparently this is the time to fly. This is the craziest thing. There's like a moving video wall over there. I'd never seen that before.
Our first order of business was to find the playground in the International Terminal. We were told that the playground was behind the food court and we had to look around for a little while as it's in kind of a hidden nook, but eventually we found it. If you're traveling with kids, definitely look to see if your airport has a little playground as it makes a huge difference. We generally only find them at the larger international airports, but you never know, and it's definitely worth looking to see if they have one.
This spot is clutch, as you can actually get some food and you can bring it to the outskirts and you can watch the kids while you're eating.
I want
We gotta get you some
water.
Yeah, we gotta get some water bottle.
We're getting worn out before the flight. That's definitely the way to do it.
The spot is known as the LAX beach if you're looking for it, and it is right next to the food court where there are 5 or 6 different options, and there was tables on the outside of the LAX beach area so you could bring your food over and you could sit there and eat.
So we played for about an hour and a half, got a few snacks, and now we are heading to our gate.
If you've never been to the international terminal at LAX before, note that you need a lot more time than you think to get to your gate. This terminal is massive, and it's not crazy for it to be a 15 to 20 minute walk to get from one area to the next. Amy and I timed it to arrive about 15 minutes for boarding, so we had time to look at the plane and walk around a little bit, but we weren't spending too much time there.
Hey guys, what do we pick out for the flight attendant today? Some treats? What else do we get them? Coffee.
Especially on these long flights, we always try to bring a treat for the flight attendants if we remember, and so this time we brought them some Starbucks Via coffee and some chocolates that they could share. And in terms of picking seats, I went for the ones at the very back of the plane that only had 2 on the side. That made it easier for each of the kids to have a window seat and for Amy and I to both have an aisle seat. That way we can get up and walk around easily if we needed to, but the kids could look out the window whenever they needed to.
Is it a book?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Should we read it later? Yeah? All right. And this is what I brought to try and sleep. We'll see how it goes. Jack and I are ready to go. Do you think you're gonna be able to night in on this plane? He's probably got a better chance than me, but... Shout out to Air France because I actually got a good amount of legroom and there's a good recline on this seat. Feeling pretty positive about being able to sleep tonight.
Alice.
As we were waiting for our turn, we counted the planes that were taking off outside of the window and then we explored the digital entertainment system. It was cool because they had a map for kids with animals on it and they had Angry Birds and some other games you could play.
It's like a Disneyland roller coaster. Paris, here we come.
One of the family traditions that my dad instituted when I was tiny and started flying is to flap when the plane takes off to help it. So of course we encourage that with our kids as well. I have to say, as much as I don't like going to the LAX airport, it is pretty cool to take off from here and fly out over the ocean before turning around. Whenever we make it into the air, I consider the first quarter of the trip done. And now it's the tougher part where we have 10.5 hours in a plane that we gotta keep everybody entertained.
My kids were a little upset this wasn't a snack, it's just a hand towel.
Shout out to Air France for bringing these little kits around for our kids that had an airplane, a little puzzle, and a coloring book. And then about 45 minutes into the flight, it was time to start dinner. The kids' meal was not bad. It had a pasta dish, it had some macaroni salad, a cookie, and some cheese.
Wow.
And applesauce and apple juice.
What are you most excited about with this meal? The butter? What do you rate it out of 10 though?
At 8.50.
A 10 and a 15? All right. Dinner and a view.
I appreciate that they brought the kids' meal out first, as it was good to get the kids fed while we were waiting for our food.
And for me, I have some chicken and rice, lentils, bread, cheese, and some type of dessert. Kids' meal just seems pretty strong. I'd give that a chicken a 3 out of 10.
If you've flown international, then you understand. Food is not usually what you're excited about on trips like this. From there, we busted out the tablets for the kids or gave them their headphones if they wanted to watch a movie, and then I continued to play Angry Birds in the seat. I don't know why I was excited about this. I've had this on my phone for like a decade. After about an hour, they cleared the food and they started preparing the cabin for sleep. I always sleep horrible on airplanes, so every time I have a long trip, I'm always trying something new.
I think I might actually get some sleep with that. See you in the morning.
I will say that this sleeper hold thing was better than normal, and I plan to take it on more trips in the future. But with trying to keep the kids comfortable and make sure they slept, I only got about an hour or two on the flight.
We got an hour and 18 minutes left. We just got breakfast and coffee, but we still got some sleeping children. Maybe did not sleep at all though.
I will say that breakfast was a lot better than dinner. Coffee, fruit, pastry, not bad. The kids ended up getting about 6 hours of sleep on the plane, and I have to say I was pretty excited about that, as I had no idea what was going to happen. I figured we might be watching movies all night long, and of course 6 isn't great when you're a 4-year-old, but it's way better than I expected.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport. It's 1:45.
That was.
Certificate of first international plane flight. Wow, that is so cool.
Yes.
Wow.
I didn't expect them to come around with that, but the kids loved that they got a certificate for their first international flight. And just like that, we were getting off the plane in Paris.
We have made it to Paris. It was 10 and a half hours. I got about an hour and a half of sleep. Amy got 0 sleep, but the kids slept like 6 hours. So I'll take that as a win. Overall, not a bad flight. We're gonna explore a little bit before we end this video. Well, I guess we gotta make it into the country first through customs, and then we'll explore a little bit.
We figured this video should take you all the way into Paris, to our Airbnb, and then off to the Eiffel Tower, thus completing their first entire international travel day. So our next stop was going through customs, and it took about 20 minutes to walk over to where the customs area is.
This is a pretty confusing airport to navigate, but we have made it through security, and we are hoping our bags are here.
It took about 45 minutes to get through security, and then arriving at the baggage area brought us our first major problem of the trip.
Well, we have one bag, and Amy's bag did not make it. So we'll start our France journey, but we'll see if hopefully they'll bring it to us.
There was another bag going around that looked just like Amy's, so we figured that someone probably just took hers thinking it was theirs, and we reported it to Air France and just hoped for the best.
We got our taxi.
Ready to go.
There are multiple ways into the city, and we were originally going to do the Rosie bus, which took us right to the opera area, which is where we were staying. But it was around 12 euros each, and it was only 50 euros to take a taxi, so we figured that that would just be easier after a long day of travel. It took us about 45 minutes to get into the city, but it gave me a good amount of time to call my credit card and report the baggage as lost.
Here's our Airbnb. It is a great spot right in the middle of the city. And they even gave us a chocolate Eiffel Tower.
It was an amazing touch to have a chocolate Eiffel Tower waiting for us. The kids were so stoked.
Hey Jack, do you want to go to sleep or do you want to go explore? You want to see the Eiffel Tower? Okay.
In order to combat jet lag, we always try to go to bed at a normal time when we arrive at a new city, so we decided we'd go explore and hope for the best.
Do it in.
Hey guys, can I get in there with you?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe without a backpack and a stroller. Okay, sit back.
All right, you gotta move all the way back.
You're going to go down the stairs.
Our Airbnb had an elevator, which was great for bringing up the suitcases, but it was a little small.
That is legitimately the tiniest elevator I've ever seen.
Google Maps estimated it would take about 22 minutes to get to the Trocadero, which is my favorite view of the Eiffel Tower and a great spot to see it for the first time for the kids.
We did our first metro ride of the trip, and we went the wrong direction. just blame it on jet lag. So we're going back down and hopefully the right direction this time.
There really is nothing like learning a new public transportation system every time you get to a major city like this. And you'll see in the upcoming 7 days in Paris video that I had a lot more trouble managing the metro system here than I usually do when I get to a major city. I mean, one of the biggest issues is that you can't tap in and out with your phone.
We made it out of the metro.
We're here.
We're getting something to eat.
This area is known for its touristy restaurants, but we figured you couldn't mess up a good crepe. Also, this is about the time on the trip that I learned that my 3 months of studying French on Duolingo was not going to do as much as I hoped it would.
Found a spot for crepes, ham and cheese.
What?
Really good. Delicious.
I feel like I've officially made it to Paris now, sitting here eating a crepe. This is worth the 10-hour flight.
After our crepe, all that was left was walking back and taking in our first views of the Eiffel Tower.
We finally made it.
It's been 15 years since I've seen this. It is so cool to see it again.
I wish I could say that we stayed here and watched the sunset and watched the lights turn on, but we only made it about 20 minutes before everybody was ready to go back and to go to sleep.
And with that, we have officially made it to Paris, seeing the Eiffel Tower and having a crepe. We're gonna spend 7 more days here. You can see that video up here, and we will see you on the next one.
Our fly.
All right, we did our long flight to Paris and we've flown a lot with the kids over the past 5 years, so I thought I'd give you some of my tips. Okay, so my top tip is making sure you prepare them ahead of time. Ever since they were little, every flight we tell them exactly what to expect. Walk them through what will happen, from checking bags and going through security to boarding the plane and buckling up. Let them know about things like loud engine sounds and needing to stay in their seat and how long the flight might feel. If you're taking the international flight, explain that they'll be sleeping on the plane and what that will look like. Dim lights, reclined seats, and maybe using a special travel pillow or blanket. When kids know what to expect, they're gonna feel more calm, confident, and cooperative. So for my second tip, this may be surprising coming from a mom, but do not overpack the snacks. I have done this so many times, and what ends up happening is that they don't end up eating them all, and then you have so much to carry and lug around. So what I've gone to, even for this international flight, is they get to choose something sweet and something crunchy. Usually that's something that we don't normally get to eat at home, and that makes it really exciting for them. Other than that, I pack 1 or 2 favorite snacks that I know they'll eat that is healthy, so there's something familiar. On the international flight, you most likely get 1 to 2 meals. They have snacks in the back, drinks, and then they usually come through between those meals with something fun to eat. I would say we were completely well fed, the twins were super happy, and I barely touched those snacks that I had. I will say when we landed in Paris, I was really grateful to have those familiar, healthy snacks because they really needed something that was a little bit comforting after the long flight and everything was super new. So I was glad to have those ready to go when we landed. But this has just been my experience, but if you know your kids eat a ton of snacks, then you probably might need to pack a few extra. So my third tip is keeping a positive mindset. I know that travel days can be really stressful with young kids, but I prepared myself for this international flight thinking the worst that's gonna happen is they're not gonna sleep, we're not gonna sleep. At the end of the flight, the twins ended up sleeping 7 hours and Josh and I slept 0. But during that time, I just was like, oh well, they're sleeping. It's even better than I had mentally prepared for myself. And honestly, if they hadn't slept, we would have been fine. We would have made it to Paris. They would have been more exhausted, but we would have been seeing the Eiffel Tower and hopefully everybody would have slept great that night then. Something I've always told myself when trips don't go well is that days at home could be really stressful and don't go well, but at least we're going somewhere fun and new, and that helps me stay positive when we're traveling. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect to be a great memory. So those are my top 3 tips. Let me know if you have any in the comments. I always love new ideas, and I'll see you in the next video.